Have you ever wanted to go on a heartfelt journey in the lives of your loved ones and newfound acquaintances? Do you enjoy listening and engaging in uplifting discussions that leave you motivated and inspired to take action in your own life? This podcast is a space where we have in-depth conversations on family, health, spirituality, entrepreneurship, and well, just plain old life. I'm Jesse De Leon, and this is my passion. Join me on a walk into the fascinating narratives and meaningful conversations that shape our experiences. Welcome to The Knowing, a Life and Stories podcast. Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining me here on The Knowing, a Life and Stories with Jesse De Leon, myself as your host. Again, I always start out with thanking you and letting you know how grateful I am for tuning in. Are you experiencing shame? That's the topic I want to talk about today. There are so many levels of shame and so many ways to think of shame. But I was at Mass this weekend and I was reading. I read once a month. And the gospel and the readings just really touched me. And I wanted to share it with you all and how it relates to living with any kind of shame. And it's important. This topic is really important because when we live in shame, we basically live in darkness a lot of the times. We know shame is something we keep in the dark, something that we keep away from the people that we love, the people that we work with, the people that we just engage with on a daily basis. And so really, it doesn't hurt them directly. It does hurt them indirectly, but it really hurts the ones who are experiencing it and keeping it. And it just so happened that this weekend's readings and gospel were about that. And I, if you remember, I shared a confession that I confessed in the confessional. And it wasn't easy for me to share because it was very shameful to me. And when I shared it, it completely helped me to get to a different place with that shame and where I am now. And we'll go back to what I'll refresh you on what that was, but I want to read the two readings, and I want to read the gospel. And again, I don't want to make this feel like I'm trying to convert you. That is not my goal. Is not to convert you. Do I want everyone to understand my faith? Yes. The Catholic Church? Yes. There's so many misnomers about the Catholic Church that even there's so much I don't even know yet about it, and I'm learning. And the more I learn about it, the more I fall into a space where I feel better about me and just about the world and where I am today. So here's the first reading. The Lord said to Samuel, "Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem, for I have chosen my king from among his sons." As Jesse and his sons came to the sacrifice, Samuel looked at Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed is here before him." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not judge from his appearance or from his lofty stature, because I have rejected him. Not as man sees does God see, because man sees the appearance, but the Lord looks into your heart." In the same way, Jesse presented 7 sons before Samuel. But Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any one of these." Then Samuel asked Jesse, Are these all the sons you have?" And Jesse replied, "There is still the youngest, who is tending the sheep." Samuel said to Jesse, "Send for him. We will not begin the sacrificial banquet until he arrives." Jesse sent and had the young man brought to him. He was ruddy, a youth, handsome to behold. and making a splendid appearance. The Lord said, "There, anoint him, for this is the one." Then Samuel, with the horn of oil in hand, anointed David in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon David. Now, this reading is so special to me because I always think about, when I think about fear, and I'm worried, I'm stressed about what I don't know is coming. A lot of times I fear doing this podcast because oftentimes I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to sound ignorant, uh, like a buffoon. But it's just a risk that we have to take, right? I want to be David, and I want you to be David. And what did David do? A lion killed his mother, right? And he was so angry. And for years, he was terrified of this lion. And he wanted to go out and kill this lion. And his father says, "No, you are not strong. You are too weak to go and face this lion. Leave it alone." And David mustered up the courage and the strength that the Holy Spirit filled him with, that courage. And he went out and he slayed the lion. He ran towards the roar. He didn't want to run away from it. He ran towards it. And how many times have we run away from the roar? It just seems so easy to run and not face it. But you know that even that it brings shame on us, and it makes us doubt ourselves. And that isn't what we're meant to do. We all have a task. We all have a mission. We all have a purpose. We're meant to live it out, to see it through. So oftentimes when I'm speaking to my friends, and even strangers, and they tell me a story about fear, and I say, "Be a David." So I'm asking you all to be a David. The second reading is, I will read that to you now. "Brothers and sisters, you were once in darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, for light produces every kind of goodness and righteousness and truth. Try to learn what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the fruitless works of darkness, rather expose them. For it is shameful even to mention the things done by them in secret. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible. For everything that becomes visible is light. Therefore, it says, 'Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light.'" Wow. I was reading that as I was reading that and preparing for that yesterday and throughout the week. It just helped me to reflect on how long I kept my same-sex attraction in the dark. I kept it from my family, from my friends. I even thought I kept it from God. And I lived in a lot of pain. I lived in a lot of anxiety and worry and stress. And I always lived with this outward appearance that I had to be perfect. I had to dress a certain way, walk a certain way, stand a certain way, speak with a certain tone, for fear that someone would find out that I was not normal, that something was off with me, that I was different. And that difference was that I was attracted to the same sex. And though that did not define who I was as a whole, it was and it is, and it will remain to be a part of me. And I lived with that shame and the guilt of lying. And for my whole life, not my whole life, for a big part of my life. And it wasn't until I started to share that with my family, who gave me so much love and support. It was then that I started to feel the heaviness, the weight of that shame being lifted. But it wasn't enough that my parents and my siblings accepted me and valued me and loved me and trusted me and forgave me for what I considered a lie, that I felt like I was lying to them all the time. I felt like I was a perpetual liar. And I hated that. I hated myself. And It was really hard. But it was a stepping stone to being free, not living in the dark, but living in the light and becoming part of like humanity, and realizing that that we all live with some kind of shame, and we all live with some kind of sin that we even can't even forgive ourselves. Right. And that's why I made the episode. I produced and published the episode along with Jeff and Darren about the confessional, and how going to the confessional with my great shame of being so addicted to pornography. I cannot tell you how I loathed myself. There were times I just didn't even know how I was going to get through the day without looking at porn and then immediately feeling the shame that comes with that. I'm not judging you. This isn't about making you feel bad. It's about helping you to be free from that. And when I confessed that in the confessional, it was like a little boy came out of the confessional. I was like literally hopping and skipping through the poppy fields in my mind. And it felt free. And I will tell you this, that was over 2 years ago. And I have not gone back to looking at pornography. Some prayers are answered immediately. Some prayers are not. When they're not answered, we lose faith. We lose hope. We start to doubt the Lord, right? Just like all the disciples did. We are not exempt. They were not exempt, right? They saw every miracle performed in front of them, and they still questioned. All the slaves that were brought out of Egypt, at every turn, they doubted the Lord and they questioned Moses, and they're like, well, where is the Lord? And we're all going to die. And you brought us out here. I wish we would have just been left there, and I'd rather be a slave. Isn't that interesting? I'd rather be a slave than to be out here in this not knowing, right? The unknown. But at every turn, the Lord would give Moses this power and the strength to show them that he was still there. And so not all our prayers are answered, right? But in that particular space and time, my prayer was answered. And it's important to be encouraged and to encourage other people to be themselves. We all need a person, our go-to person to talk to. And we need to feel safe with that person, whoever that person is. It might be more than one. And if you do have that, you're so lucky. You're so blessed. And this reading was about that. The second reading was about trusting in God and trust in yourself and trust in the people that you love and who love you. And the people that love you don't want you to be in the dark. Most oftentimes, they already know. Like my family already knew that I was attracted to the same sex. My friends knew, but even my friends in my small, beautiful, charming little town in the country, even though they knew, they guessed it, they still loved me. They never brought it up. No one ever brought it up. And I would have been mortified had they, probably. Maybe I wouldn't have been. But those friends who now know that I am of same-sex attraction, they love me. I remember going to my high school reunion, and my friend, my dear, lovely, beautiful friend, Bridget, was so nervous for me. I was a little nervous, but she was so nervous for me. And she didn't reveal that to me until after the fact, because she was nervous that people were not going to be kind to me, not going to be nice to me. And I was a little bit nervous, but by that point, I'd already gone through a lot of that, dealing with the shame and not being in the dark. So I walked in there a little worried, but the moment I walked in, all those guys, and I mention guys in particular because a lot of times in our society, men are uncomfortable to express and share love and show love to another man. And why is that? Gosh, I just say, just teach your children to love, just to love, because it is so freeing to be able to just love. And when I walked into that space, the guys just went in a roar, like, Jesse, oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. We were hoping you were going to be here. And when my friend Bridget walked in next to me, she disappeared the rest of the night. She's like, I knew you were okay. I knew you were safe, and I was happy. So I let you go and just have fun. And so that's what it is. That's what it feels like to be free from that. And I just want that for you. I want that for all of us, right? And when we hold on to that, when we stay in the darkness, that's when all the other stuff, the negative stuff, the bad stuff comes in, the doubts come in, the thoughts of self-loathing, and even the thought of hurting ourselves. That's when all that creeps in. And he who shall not be named doesn't want us to be in the light, because as long as we're in the dark, he has a clutch on us, a grasp on us. And we can defeat that by just come out of the darkness. And the darkness is the closet, right? The darkness is that closet. And I'm sure, I hope that when those of you who are of same-sex attraction came out of that dark closet, how free did you feel in that moment? How free did your family and friends feel? When we think we're hiding something, the people that know us best and who know us the most, they already know. They know something, and they live with that discomfort too. So not only are you freeing you're freeing them, the people that you love and whom love you the most. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to start looking to the inside of a person, and let's see where that takes me, right? And there's always going to be people who doubt you. There always will be people who judge you. We have to move past that, beyond that, and maybe try to look in their hearts and see where they're coming from. Oftentimes, they're coming from a place of hurt, of pain, a place of anger, and a place of shame. We all have it. We've all experienced it. We all still experience it. But the moment we can bring that into the light and share it with the people that we love, and just be you, trust that you were made perfectly to be you. We're imperfect. I love you. I hope this helps in some profound, beautiful way. We can be a light for each other, to each other, and help guide each other out of these dark places. We don't want to be there anymore. We want to be in the light. I want you in the light. I want to be with you in the light. Until next time, I love you. Keep praying for me, and I will keep praying for you. Have a good one.